Hi everybody, and welcome to the first of our ground management lessons. We're going to be bringing you a few of these over the next few weeks for you guys that are stuck in quarantine at home. This is Fish. For anybody that rides at Thousand Oaks and knows Fizz, this is Fizz's baby. She started her career at Ride On, but she came to us, the Jones family, in about 2013, and now she's a little 3-day eventer. Today's actually first ground management lesson is going to be all about grooming. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to show you what we need to do at Ride On when we get our horses ready for when you guys come and ride. So basically we've got our tools here that we use for grooming. Okay, so this is the first thing we're going to use this afternoon to get Fish ready. This is called a curry comb, and we're going to use this and we're going to go in a round and round motion, and we're going to keep the curry comb on the big meaty parts of her body. We don't want to use this on any of her bony parts because that could be uncomfortable. And what this does, what we do when we're grooming is several different things. The first thing we're doing is we're making sure that we get rid of all this dirt and dander so that when we put our saddle on, it's comfortable for her and there's nothing stuck and no dirt underneath here that's going to cause sores. Another good reason is to check her over and make sure that she doesn't have any injuries or blemishes. Another really good reason for grooming is blood circulation, and it also helps with their coat. Okay, the next thing we're going to use is our body brush. Now this is a stiff brush, and what we're going to do is we're going to use this to basically whisk away all of that dander that we just created using the curry comb. So we're just going to use little swift flicking motions like this. We start towards her head and we work towards the back of her body because that's going in the direction of her coat. And again, it's getting her nice and clean, and I'm able to check her all over to make sure that she doesn't have any little problems that we haven't seen, to make sure we get rid of all the dirt, especially around the saddle area. Okay, now this is our soft body brush. We can use this basically on most of those areas that I just said that we needed to avoid. So we can use this on her legs where she doesn't have as much meat and she's more bony. We can also use the body brush more towards her face. Some horses really don't like their faces being brushed. Fishy doesn't mind, she likes it, but you have to go really softly. And you have to think about how that would feel if somebody were to brush your face, right? So that's when you think about how soft you need to be when you're brushing their face. And down their legs. So again, we're just going to use this to basically clean the last bits of dirt and dust off. Okay, there's one more tool here that we're just going to use to brush her mane through. This is a mane and tail brush. Brushing her mane is fine. You can do that as much as you like because we do actually do what's called pulling horses' manes to keep them nice and short and manageable. Her tail, on the other hand, you need to be super careful with brushing the tail. You need to make sure that you stand in a safe spot, bring her tail towards you, and also that you start at the bottom of her tail and just do this very infrequently because otherwise you'll pull her tail out and then she'd look silly. Okay, the last tool that we have here is our hoof pick. Now this is a super important tool because if we don't keep our horse's hooves clean and healthy, we don't really have a horse to ride, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we pick a horse's hoof. We're going to stand facing the back of her, and we're just going to bring her foot up by running my hand down the back of her leg and a little squeeze right here, and she picks her foot up for me. And then you can see here there's lots of dirt in here. We're going to clean around what's called the frog. This is her frog. This is what's like a little shock absorber for her foot when she puts her foot down on the ground. So it's quite soft. And we can dig around in here. They're like fingernails. In the wild, her feet would grow and they would file themselves down naturally. But we have to keep them trimmed by bringing out a horseshoer or a farrier. And then it's super important that we keep horses' feet clean. We need to make sure there are no rocks in there that could make her sore or give her bruises. And especially at this time of the year when it's muddy and wet, we want to make sure that we get this nice and clean because otherwise we can cause infections in there called thrush and other things that would make her unsound, so they would make her limp. Another fun fact that you can see with Fish right now is she's just starting to get rid of her winter coat. And normally you would think that winter coats grow and go because of the coldness or the weather. It's not, it's actually because of the light. So as the days start to get longer, then her winter coat's going to start to come away and fall out. Okay guys, thanks so much for joining us for our first ground management lesson. Fishy and I really enjoyed having you, and next time we're going to be talking about tacking.